Hello. Right, so I just got a bit carried away there, My team playing the Premier League this weekend. Just a bit excited, you know what I mean? That definitely encouraged you to subscribe, didn't it? And if you are new, please do that, 70% of you, in fact, 70.5% of you in the last 28 days have not been subscribed. Like, come on, what you playing at? That's actually embarrassing behaviour, to be honest. It's unacceptable. This week, we're going to do Transfer Talk properly instead of doing it in a format that has been outdated on my channel for about a year. I apologise for uploading that podcast last week if you did see it. It wasn't a very good idea, to be honest, because I don't normally want hate comments, and there weren't really hate comments, but people were just saying this isn't really the best, David. And totally, you're right, because it wasn't. That's a podcast I've been doing on this channel for nearly 2 years, and my channel has quite dramatically changed since then for the good. I'd like to think so anyway. And that podcast hasn't really evolved, and it's not consistent enough to evolve. I can't let it harm this channel. So I just thought I ought to mention that. Because I did that podcast, I didn't properly have the chance to mention Lewis O'Brien. I am buzzing with this signing. I got to see him play at the weekend against Valencia, and just off that one friendly match, wow, we've got one hell of a player on our hands here. And, we can laugh and joke or we're like, we signed a player from Huddersfield just to wind them up. It's far from that, and we wouldn't have done that anyway. But it is just quite funny that we have took 2 players from Huddersfield. But him and Harry Toffolo truly are brilliant signings and great players, and they're both young as well. Particularly Lewis O'Brien. He's only 23 and he's as good as he is. Amazing on the ball. He's not afraid to put in a tackle. He was crucial to Huddersfield last season, and you can see just from watching their game against Burnley the other day, they seriously missed him in that midfield, and they look pretty clueless without him. Of course, Harry Toffolo, like I mentioned, also joined. It looks like he's going to have to start and play a lot of the games at the start of the season with the injury to Omar Richards. Not quite sure what's going on with that, but I'm completely fine with Toffolo having to play because I've always liked him. I've always known about him, to be honest. Even back when he was at Lincoln, he looked really good, in my opinion, against Valencia as well. 42 appearances last season for Huddersfield, 6 goals, 7 assists, 75% pass accuracy. I don't like to bombard you all with stats to prove a player's good, but I think that's pretty impressive from essentially a defensive position. One new signing that has happened since the last proper episode of Transfer Gossip was Mangala signing at the weekend for £12.75 million. Don't quote me on that figure, that's according to Transfermarkt, one of the best websites around, I'd say, for stats and that kind of thing. So go and check it out. I'm sure you've all heard of it, so I don't really know why I'm treating them like they're my sponsor, because they're not. 24 years of age, he's played twice for the Belgium national team, the team that has been ranked number 1 in the world for the last couple of years. I don't really know how they have been, to be honest, because they've not actually won any trophies, but that's by the by. He's played 2 games for them, like I say, in friendlies against Ireland and Burkina Faso. He's been a regular for Stuttgart in the Bundesliga the last few seasons, in fact, helping them win promotion in 2020 from the 2nd division of Germany, achieving a 9th place finish the year after that, and then a 16th place finish last season in Germany. He has been a bit of a fan favourite from what I can tell over in Germany, and that's only going to help us. He previously came through the Anderlecht and Dortmund youth setups, as well as a loan spell to Hamburg in his 2nd season with Stuttgart. So with the addition of Mangala, we look at the squad depth map, as I've been showing you throughout this entire transfer window. I've made a few changes to it, of course, not just with Mangala joining in, but I've took players like Lolly and Silva out. Obviously, Ioannu's also left the club this week to permanently join Como. I don't think anyone's really that bothered. Luton away, legend for that red card to be never seen again after that. So I think really the whole of the defence is looking really strong now. Midfield is certainly getting there, and we are linked with other midfielders that aren't attacking midfielders, which I kind of find a little bit confusing because I think that's incredibly harsh on the 4 main midfielders we have there, because we had Yates, we had Colback, we signed O'Brien and Mangala. I don't really think we need another midfielder. I think we're fine. If you're writing off Jack Colback, I think that's incredibly harsh because that guy, come on, don't write him off. He's been there and done it before. Granted, it was with Newcastle and Sunderland when he wasn't that good, but my God, he's come a long way since then. He can certainly offer plenty of experience. He, as my dad calls him, he's like a terrier. He just gets at players. He doesn't give in, you know, and that kind of mentality is a very good mentality to have. And maybe he hasn't got the pace, but I certainly wouldn't write him off. And maybe you could say Mangala should be starting in this team. Don't take it too seriously in terms of who's starting. It's just getting an idea of like who's in each position, you know. So Mangala, maybe he is better than Yates. I've never seen him play properly before. I can watch countless YouTube videos of him, but that's not going to give me, you know, an incredible idea. I need to watch him actually play, you know. Plus, if you're writing off Ryan Yates, then I've got serious questions about you, to be honest, because come on. What's that guy got to do to prove you wrong more? He's worked so incredibly hard to prove Daft was wrong in the Championship. He's still a class player. And I know he's going to be injured at the start of the season, so it seems. But I'm sorry, don't write off Yatesy. I put Ollie Hammond into that attacking midfield role because he has been playing there a little bit. And it just makes it look better than just having Lingard there, which I still can't believe Jesse Lingard's name's there. I've put Johnson onto the wing in terms of options there because he can play there, obviously that's where he should really be playing. But it's quite obvious now, isn't it? We probably need another attacking midfielder and at the very least another striker. And talking of strikers, let's talk about a few of the rumours in, because there's still plenty of those kicking around. We've spoken about Keenan Davis, but we're going to go into a bit more detail about two other strikers that have hotted up recently. Emanuel Dennis, he's been linked for the last couple of weeks, to be honest, but in a poor season for Watford, he got 10 goals and 6 assists. He strikes me as a similar kind of player to Davis, really. He kind of like just bites at your ankles and that kind of thing, only in a full season you did get more goals than him, so maybe that's something we should take into account. However, the price tag, Watford apparently, and don't quote me on this, won about 25 million for him, which I think is way too much to spend on him. Like, he's not even guaranteed to start, and is he really worth that much? I don't think he is. Another player is Alassane Pella. We have signed so many players from the Bundesliga this season. Awani, Niakate, Mangala's come from there as well, obviously Richards. Are we going to really sign a fifth player from the Bundesliga? We clearly like that kind of model. In 4 seasons for Borussia Mönchengladbach, 3 of them, he's netted over 10 goals. And I will be lying if I said I knew a huge amount about him. I know him. I've known his name for quite some time, but I've never watched him closely enough to really say if he would be the right kind of signing. Only I do think he's got to be better than Lyle Taylor, hasn't he? We need a striker, and we arguably need another forward that could play behind the striker. But then I think we're looking pretty set with a very strong looking side, certainly for a newly promoted team. You know, we look at Fulham, we look at Bournemouth, our team is looking way stronger. Certainly our transfer window, because Fulham have 2 senior centre-backs. They've got a really small squad. Horrendous transfer window. Bournemouth have signed 3 players. All of them are questionable whether they're any good or not. So it's weird. It's weird how we've approached it compared to them, but it's much better compared to them. So I mentioned a few strikers that we might sign, but I've also made it quite clear that we may very well need an attacking midfielder or a winger, and we are linked with players in those positions. And one player that's been linked with us in the past that's been kind of rehashed the last couple of days is Josh Bowler from Blackpool. This guy had a great season in the Championship last year, got a few goals and assists. He strikes me as a bit, I think I said it at the time when we were linked with him in January, he's a little bit like Prime Joe Lolly, and I don't know whether that's a fair comparison, but I'm pretty sure I said that when he was initially linked with us in the January transfer window. My only worry is he good enough for this level? And I don't know, I think he'd be a good bit of depth, and he probably wouldn't cost that much, but maybe we arguably can do better, but I'm not so sure. Let me in the comments below, what do you think of Josh Bowler? And same for all these players, you know. There's another quite big name that seemingly is kind of fading out a little bit. This is Maxwell Courtney. I would love this. I would absolutely love this. I don't know how he would start, because, I mean, that's insane. We're signing Maxwell Courtney potentially, and I'm not even sure if he starts in this team. Like, that's how good the team's looking. he is a quality player and he can play pretty much anywhere. Seriously, you look at his position map, he can play virtually anywhere on the pitch, mostly down the left-hand side. He can play on the right wing, left wing back as a centre forward. He could do it most positions, and he would be an excellent kind of option, a versatile player. And I think that would be a bit of a no-brainer if we're to try and go after him. But he is linked with Everton, West Ham and Newcastle, and I mean the pull of Newcastle is going to be quite big for him. So I think that one is a little bit of a far stretch. And I think one more player, in fact no, two more players that I will mention. These are very, very familiar names to us now. Morgan Gibbs-White, is it dead in the water? I'm not sure. There's been reports recently that Forest are still interested, but then there's reports that we're just not, and we're not going to get him. You know, he's been linked with a few clubs. I'm sure Wolves are going to want to try and keep hold of him. It would be an unbelievable signing, but it's going to cost a lot of money, like £20 million for Gibbs-White, for someone that's unproven in the Premier League, that probably would be a bench player. I think that is a bit of a gamble, and if it doesn't work, and saying that he's just going to be on the bench a lot, it's quite an expensive flop if that happens. I don't think it's worth it. I'm still crossing my fingers about this James Garner situation, because he's an unbelievable player. He's playing a fair amount in pre-season for Man United. He played 90 minutes against Wrexham. He came off the bench against Aston Villa in Australia. Got like 70 minutes, I think, against Rayo Vallecano the other day at Old Trafford. I don't really know whether he's going to get regular minutes at Man United. He said himself he doesn't want to be a bit part player. And I made it quite clear that I don't think we need really another out-and-out midfielder. But Jimmy can play further forward. He can play as a 10, like, pretty comfortably. But I just thought I ought to mention his name, because I still think we've got a chance, possibly. I think that's pretty much it, to be honest. I mean, there's loads of names I can mention, but there's some that you get rumours that come about and then just die immediately, and I'm sure some of these are going to be the same. So I think that's probably fair, and that's where we're going to leave it for this week's transfer gossip. If you have enjoyed this latest episode, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you're new. Please, let's get me to 4,000 subscribers as soon as possible. There's so much stuff that I can be doing this season. Premier League vlogs are just going to be outstanding. They're going to be incredible, and all the stuff around it. You know, I'm going to do my absolute best to bring you the best content possible. So yeah, but I hope you've enjoyed this video, everyone. I'll see you very soon.